Welcome to the Misha Wilson Show, where we show you how to create massive success online so you can enjoy the lifestyle of your wildest dreams.
Hey, if you want to discover the number one mistake that newbies make when it comes to selling to the masses, selling via webinars, selling via video sales letters, selling via email, etc., stick around and watch today's video through until the very end, as I'm about to share with you the number one mistake that I used to make and I see so many of my students make, and most importantly, how you can once again overcome it so that you can increase your conversions, charge more per unit, make more sales, and ultimately grow your profit. As always, if this is your first video, my name is Misha Wilson, and over the course of the last few years, I've now done many millions of dollars in sales online, and I've helped many people get their business off the ground for the very first time. So everything I'm going to share with you here today in this video is based on actual applied knowledge and not just theory. With that said, if you get value, please let me know in the comment section below what your biggest takeaway is, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button below this video. With that said, let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so again, what I want to talk about here today is the single biggest mistake that people make when it comes to selling to the masses when they're first getting started. All right, so I remember when I was first getting started, I got so excited by the idea of being able to host a webinar, have 500 people on it, and sell $100,000 worth of information products on that webinar in a 90-minute period, right? That just fascinated me and it got me super excited to learn the skill set. And this translates to webinars, it translates to video sales letter, it translates to selling from stage or email, whatever the environment might be, whenever you're selling to essentially an audience. And I was super excited, but at the same time, I could not crack how to make a freaking sale to save my life. And it was frustrating because I was pretty good at selling, right? I actually had a job before that in a store. It was a surf shop. I was not a surfer. I did not know much about surfing. But because I was just good with people, I was able to interact with people. I was able to build rapport with people. I was able to, overcome objections when I was having a one-on-one conversation. I ended up being the second best sales guy in that surf shop, despite not knowing anything, for that matter, about surfing. It was actually kite surfing, which I didn't know anything about, right? But I was always kind of naturally pretty good at selling. So it drove me crazy when I was hosting one webinar after the next, after the next, after the next. I remember one webinar I hosted, I had 10 people on there. By the time the whole thing was over, everyone was gone. And the only person that was still left on there was on there because they wanted a fucking refund from a product in the past. So I, by no stretch, was a natural at this, but it's because I was making a mistake that I'm about to talk about here. And that mistake seems kind of very, and the antithesis of what the mistake would be, but also it will absolutely kill your sales. And that mistake literally is focusing on selling the product too much. And I don't mean not to sell, right? I don't mean not to aggressively sell. I don't mean not to pitch. I'm a believer, if you have a webinar, you gotta pitch, you gotta sell aggressively at one point in time or another. But if you just focus on aggressively selling the product before you do one vital thing, before you do, you won't make any sales, all right? And so what I ended up realizing in my journey is that the most important thing to focus on selling when it comes to webinars, sales letters, stage speaking, etc., is firstly selling the big idea and selling the belief that the mechanism is the right thing for people to do in their business, and then from there, sell the product, all right? And that's the big mistake. Most people never sell the actual belief of the mechanism. They get right to the product. They talk about the features. They talk about the benefits. They talk about the modules people will go through. They talk about, how it'll work for them, etc. But they don't actually first sell the belief that this is the best, ultimate, no questions asked solution to allow them to get to their goals. And so when they come to the product, the person first doesn't believe that this is the right idea, this is the right thing for them. So the product naturally is really hard to sell. All right, just kind of to make it more tangible, an example. I recently saw a student who put together a webinar for Facebook ads. In the webinar, again, the content of the webinar was pretty good. The intro was story about them, little, credibility, social proof build up. From there, a little bit about how to do Facebook ads, then sell the product. Now, again, someone got on the webinar, they watched the webinar, they learned about the person, they saw a little bit about Facebook ads, and then boom, buy my Facebook ads course, right? The issue is the person never took the time to actually bring the person to a place where they fully believed with absolute conviction that Facebook ads were the best way, the fastest way, the simplest way, the best way compared to all of the other options out there, and ultimately the only way, ideally, for them to go get traffic, generate leads, and make sales. They never first sold that belief, and then therefore, when they got to the actual place where they were selling the product, they did just about everything right, all right? They talked about all the different modules, the different resources, the done-for-you resources, the benefits of each of them, the features, the risk reversal guarantee. They had all of that dialed in, but unfortunately, because they were selling to a crowd of people that didn't think Facebook ads were the way for them to get to their goal, doesn't really matter if you have the best Facebook ads product in the world if someone doesn't believe first that Facebook ads are the best mechanism. And so again, before you ever get to a point where you're selling the product, before you start selling the modules, before you start talking about the features, the benefits, the bonuses, the guarantee, all of that stuff, which if you go down the rabbit hole of learning these skill sets, you will absolutely understand the importance of. Before you get there, always remember that the first thing you have to do is you have to sell the belief that the mechanism is the best, simplest, fast, and ideally only way for the person to ultimately get to their goal. And then from there, what happens is if you truly get someone on a webinar, right? And you go through the process of selling the mechanism by demonstrating how, easy it is, simple it is, fast it is, by demonstrating how it's better than all the different options out there, by demonstrating that it's the most sustainable, whatever the angle might be. If you do that effectively enough and you get to a point where someone believes, holy crap, Facebook ads truly are the best, only, simplest, fastest way for me to do this and to get to my goals, when you get to the point of selling the product, they're already ready to buy. And so your pitch doesn't need to be perfect. Your risk reversal guarantee doesn't need to be insane. Your, breakdown of all the different benefits and features and modules and, the course, et cetera, does not need to be 100% on point. I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but it can actually be less perfect if you get, the belief selling the mechanism dialed in first, because again, that is ultimately what tees up the sale. It's almost like you want to look at it as the selling of the belief is the marketing and the selling of the product is the selling. And the goal of marketing is to make selling superfluous. And so if you can market well enough, still sell, but at the end of the day, understand that if you create the right belief, if you sell them on the big idea, if they understand that this mechanism is ideally the only way for them to get to their goal, ultimately selling the product becomes very easy. You'll have much less resistance. And if you have a good offer, people will just naturally want to buy. With that said, I hope you got a ton of value out of this video. If you did, please let me know in the comment section below what your biggest takeaway was. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button below this video.